Are diversity issues compromising our skies? Recent tragic air collisions have caused a huge debate amongst everyone with DEI and the FAA regulations and safety. President Trump has brought it up in his executive orders and really caused a shakedown in what is going to hopefully eliminate DEI and go to merit-based hiring. So I would just like to discuss this as we all have skin in the game. My son just got his commercial pilot's license and he's working with an airlines that just prioritizes DEI. It took him well over a year and a half to get into this program. He is a young, white, 21-year-old male, and it took him so long. He got passed over and finally got into this program. But I've been seeing firsthand how this DEI is affecting not only the airlines, but the FAA, the air traffic controllers, all the way down. And it's just been eye-opening, especially with the recent tragic events that have happened. It's just been absolutely devastating. So I just wanted to break down, how the FAA is changing, what Trump is bringing to help kind of go to merit-based hiring, and kind of what other people are seeing on the other side and what they think that DEI can bring to the FAA and the aviation industry. So join me as I dissect this and go through all the pros and cons versus merit hiring versus diversity hiring. It's just, in my opinion, I think that when it comes to aviation safety, it is one of those industries that safety first. Let's get the top people, best people for the job, period. But it is interesting to hear both sides of the coin. So stay tuned with me and we'll just go through the whole new shakeups of the FAA. Hi, my name is Delana and welcome to Delana Unfiltered. Just my unique perspective on what's going on in the political landscape north and south of the border. I'm Canadian, live now in the US, but just have kind of seen unique views on what's going on in the world today. So stay with me, please. Like, subscribe, comment. I'm a new YouTube channel, so just love as much support as I can. So stay tuned. I'm going to talk about the FAA and what's going on within the aviation business. In recent weeks, the intersection of aviation safety and DEI has become a huge debate amongst everyone, especially when President Trump came out and talked about DEI maybe being one of the issues that caused the recent collisions within the aviation industry. We've had 3 planes that have gone down. We had the one at Reagan Airport that killed 67 people, and the helicopter, the military helicopter. We had the plane go down in Philadelphia, and then not as publicized, but there also was a plane that went down just off the coast of Alaska. It's just been devastating. I saw a picture of these 2 young girls on the plane, the little regional commuter plane that went down, and it's just absolutely heartbreaking, as we can all attest. I know my boys went to, traveled a lot on airplanes to play for hockey, and I just could not imagine, something happening to them. We all have those pictures of our kids, flying for the first time on their own, and they take a picture, and it's just so heartbreaking. They're just there flying to go play their sport, and something devastating like that happens. And it all comes down to, President Trump says it's DEI. There has been, arguments on both sides of the aisle. So I've kind of really tried to break down what is really going on here and why are these things happening. Like I said, my son is flying with one of the airlines. He's just training. He's 21 years old. It did take him a while to get on this airline, and it was because he was a white male, so he did get pushed down. To me, it almost feels like a reverse discrimination, but I will say that in his class, because they didn't take the best, half his class has actually failed out. So they still do have to pass the FAA standards. However, his school is in risk of losing the accreditation because, like I said, half his class has failed out and hasn't passed the federal test. So it will be interesting to see what does happen. And I know that Delta Airlines has come out and said that they are going to a merit-based hiring process, which is very comforting. My son is not with Delta, he was with another airlines, but as far as I can see, they're not going to kind of succumb to the merit base. They're going to stay with the DEI initiatives, which is very concerning for me, because not only do they not have the best pilots, they don't have the best trainers. Again, it goes to the air traffic controllers. Are they getting the best people? They're having a real issue with the air traffic controllers as well. Apparently that night on when the commuter plane went down, there was only one traffic controller. And I was just kind of going through the main arguments for the DEI and some of the safety concerns due to that. So the FAA has a biographical assessment in its hiring process, favoring candidates without aviation experience. So that is without aviation experience, leading to the exclusion of over 1,000 applicants. This approach has been linked to a significant shortage of air traffic controllers, with concerns that overworked and fatigued staff could increase the risk of incidents. Yeah, you think? So I did talk to someone the other day about, he was a military pilot. He had over 15 years military experience. He used to fly fighter planes. He comes out of the military, tries to get a job with the regular airlines, and it took him years to get on. They were taking people that didn't have near the amount of hours that he had or the experience, and it finally, I think it took him like 3 or 4 years to get on in airlines, and he actually had to start doing something else. He got, I don't know what he was doing within the airlines, but kind of made his way back up to getting a pilot job. And I think he's with Southwest Airlines, and he's with them forever. But I think this DEI hiring standards has been going on for a while within the airlines. Another thing that they do, and I've seen this again with my son's school, is that they lower the standards. So they want to consider people that have disabilities for their positions. One of the things that they dropped was having a university degree, which I don't think is that important. My son does not have a university degree, so he was actually being able to get on into this program because of that. But he is just a super smart engineering mind, has just loved planes his whole entire life. So this is like he's living out his dream. And that's why it was really sad that he was just getting passed over because of the fact that he was a white male, and he just got pushed down the line. He was always going on to Reddit and hearing other people complaining about the same thing, and they're saying, yeah, say like join the Asian society, join this society, to try to get in, and say that you might be a minority or you have some kind of a minority in your background just to try to get into this program. They also argue that the resource allocation and focus has been on DEI, so that takes away training for really essential things. People are paying money for DEI training and diversity and equity initiatives. It takes away from critical operation priorities. So they need to kind of more concentrate on getting staffing and the technology rather than putting all these efforts toward DEI programs. And a lot of them are saying it's the political and ideological opposition. It's very kind of politically based. It's just unnecessary bureaucracy, and with the hiring of the promotions and the decisions based on, they're not really related on job performance. It's really related on, we need XYZ, we need this in our program or in our airlines, as opposed to, hey, let's just get the best people for the job. And in my opinion, when you go to a merit-based hiring, that it doesn't really matter. I don't really care what color, what creed, what race, gender. Just hire the best people for the job. I really think that if we go to a merit-based society, merit-based hiring, you will just kind of get an organic diversity. Let's just push for everybody to be, the best that they can be and be hired on what you have to offer. When I was sitting there in my son's orientation, one of the girls said, and I will say that in this orientation, there was about 25 people that were just starting the program. there was only 2 young white males. And my son was one of them. So it was very diverse, with age, gender, you name it. Like I said, out of 25, there was 2 white males, young males. And one of the girls said, one of the questions was, why do you want to be a pilot? And she said, well, I look like, I got on a plane one time and I saw a woman being the pilot, and I thought it would be a good job, and if she can do it, I just want to prove that girls can fly planes. And I just was, what? Are you kidding me? And I said to my son, I go, this is the year like 2000, and it was like 24 at the time, and I'm like, are you kidding me? When I was growing up, and I'm old, and I wanted to be a pilot, and not one person ever said to me that you can't be a pilot or you can't do this. And at one point, I was really young, I wanted to be the Prime Minister of Canada, and I would tell people that, and no one ever said to me, well, you can't be that. Are you kidding me? You're a girl. And it was funny because my grandfather, he's French Canadian, and he always used to say, and back then you could joke about this kind of stuff, and I'd say, oh, I want to be a pilot, I want to be a pilot, and my grandfather would say, oh, what's your brother's gonna cut the wood and you're gonna pilot? And it was just funny. But now people would be so offended by that. But I never once, even when my grandfather was joking about it, I never thought for 1 second that he didn't think that I could be a pilot. I had some visual issues, so I couldn't pursue that dream. But it's just funny how times have changed, and I don't know why. And with all this diversity and equity and inclusion, that a girl can be sitting there in this classroom and think that, oh, I'm only here to prove that a woman can do the job. It's crazy. There's a ton of women doing this job and doing all kinds of other jobs. And I don't know, it was just very odd that here we are, me, 30 years ago, or even more, 30 plus years ago, thinking I could be a pilot if I wanted to. And this girl with all this DEI stuff going on is thinking, well, she just came to the conclusion that she could be a pilot now, and that's what she wanted to do because she could. Anyways, I digress. But I think that when it comes to safety standards, when it comes to other people's lives, we have to go to merit-based hiring, period. That's it. Some of the counter arguments have been, I've been reading, lack of evidence linking DEI to safety issues. But to me, just not hiring the best people is a safety issue. They say there could be a negative impact on workforce morale and recruitment. Can hinder the morale. I'm not sure about that. Again, if you have the best people for the job and everybody's, to me, that's equity. If you're the best and you can prove yourself, then you should have the job. And when you have someone working as your counterpart, you know that they've been chosen because they're the best as well. And there's been legal challenges for discrimination and things like that. But I don't know, there just has to be standards and people have to meet them. The standards have to be high. These are people's lives at risk. To me, I don't know what I'm trying to think of the benefits of DEI. I know that has been, maybe discrimination over the past, but it's like, I always kind of equate it back to hockey. When my kids were playing hockey, it's like, don't argue about ice time. Just be the best player out there. And if you're not getting ice time, turn around and look at yourself and go, why am I not out there? Why am I not getting hired? Well, maybe because you have to get better. And even when my son was trying to get into this program, there was other qualifications that he could get. I said, go out, get as much as you can, learn as much as you can, get as much government certificates as you can when it comes to aviation, go work in, and it really, at the end of the day, it didn't really matter in this program. It was like, you're put at the bottom of the list, and that's it. So when it comes to merit-based hiring, like I said, it's like getting ice time. You have to be the best, prove that you're the best, and you will be hired. And it shouldn't matter which color, which race, which gender. It really, if we're looking at performance, and there's almost like a breakdown. To me, I look more black and white, you know, like you have to be able to achieve XYZ to be even considered. And then you have to be, but if you don't meet the minimum standards, it doesn't really matter what color you are or what creed, sex, religion, it just doesn't matter. These are people's lives at stake, and it's just really discerning. I was reading that Delta Airlines which my son is not with, they're reporting to investors that they are only selecting top talent and maintaining high safety and service standards. So they are advertising that they are just going to a merit-based hiring process, which to me is, I don't know, makes me want to fly Delta. I think that, you know, if airlines start advertising, we are just hiring the best. We're for the best for service, for the best, you know, pilots, the best everything. Like, I'm going to go with that airlines. I would rather fly with an airlines that are based on merit based and have the best pilots. I want the pilot that's been in, you know, the military fighting with, you know, flying for hours and hours and has that experience versus someone that got hired because of their color or because of DEI initiatives. It's just crazy to me. To me, this is life or death, and it's really kind of come to the forefront for me because of I was just sick to my stomach seeing these planes go down and worrying about my son, because his next stage is to go to the commuter planes, and that's where his first step's going to be in flying. And that was a commuter plane that went down. Those young girls, like, it's just so sad to me that these things are going on. Anyways, that's my rant about DEI and the FAA, especially with the air traffic controllers. They have had a reduction of people graduating with the air traffic controllers, and that's what's led to the lack of staffing. And I hate to say it, but one time I was flying with my son and he was talking to the air traffic controller, and she had such an accent, I could barely understand what she was saying. And I asked my son, I said, can you understand what she's saying? Because I don't know. But FAA, I'm sorry, but we need to go to merit-based hiring. It's just, to me, it's not even an option. I have to fly to Toronto soon, and I'm just scared. I just keep putting it off because all these things that have been coming with these airplanes going down and things like that. It's just a really scary thing. My son's flying this weekend, and I'm just, you know, even with air traffic controllers, everything, every time he tells me he's flying, I just pray. I just pray for his safety. I just pray for, you know, everything to go well. And like I said, that's my rant on the FAA and the DEI. I have more to talk about. I've got a lot of stuff going through the pipeline, what's going on today in politics, and especially Canada, US. Again, my name is Delana. Please follow, like, subscribe. I'd love to hear your comments. I would love to hear if anybody has, you know, what they have to say, the positives of what's going on with, if they do believe DEI should be prioritized in hiring for the airline industries, or the air within the FAA. Should, you know, when I watched the guy that runs the FAA, the guy that Biden hired, he's never flown a plane. He couldn't answer any of those questions. It was just, what are you guys, like, this is the guy that's running to, you know, the FAA. It's just, wow. Anyway, so if you have any comments, please like, subscribe. Like I said, I'm going to be putting out a bunch of different videos and my opinions on a bunch of random stuff, so I would love to have you along. And again, give me your comments. I need an argument for DEI in the FAA because I just don't see it on my side. But thank goodness that hopefully we're going to merit-based hiring, and the skies will be safe again. Anyways, that's my rant. Peace out. Love you guys. Like, subscribe. Thanks. Are diversity issues compromising our skies? Recent tragic air collisions have caused a huge debate amongst everyone with DEI and the FAA regulations and safety. President Trump has brought it up in his executive orders and really caused a shakedown in what is going to hopefully eliminate DEI and go to merit-based hiring. So I would just like to discuss this, as we all have skin in the game. My son just got his commercial pilot's license, and he's working with an airlines that just prioritizes DEI. It took him well over a year and a half to get into this program. He is a young, white, 21-year-old male, and it took him so long. He got passed over and finally got into this program. But I've been seeing firsthand how this DEI is affecting not only the airlines, but the FAA, the air traffic controllers, all the way down. And it's just been eye-opening, especially with the recent tragic events that have happened. It's just been absolutely devastating. So I just wanted to break down, how the FAA is changing, what Trump is bringing to help kind of go to merit-based hiring, and kind of what other people are seeing on the other side, and what they think that DEI can bring to the FAA and the aviation industry. So join me as I dissect this and go through all the pros and cons versus merit hiring versus diversity hiring. It's just, in my opinion, I think that when it comes to aviation safety, it is one of those industries that safety first. Let's get the top people, best people for the job, period. But it is interesting to hear both sides of the coin. So stay tuned with me, and we'll just go through the whole new shakeups of the FAA.